HR friends, welcome back. We're in the 5-2 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day 3 of this sequence. Day 3 is right here in this white rectangle. Now, if this is your first forecast with us, be sure to check out this overview before you continue on here, as this will help you understand how we do these 24-hour forecasts so you can understand these graphs and keep up with us. All right, let's talk about day 3 here. So, day 3, we're coming off of this mental polarity flip that happened in day 2. So, there's probably going to be some stress and some stagnant energy that's going to follow us into day 3 here. And you can see that the polarity flip actually doesn't stop until day 3 starts here. So, we've already been through a couple rollers. And when we say rollers, we had some emotional polarity flips that happened. And then we had this mental polarity flip that happened. And finally, day 3 is starting to calm down a little bit. You see how first person is resetting to 0 and third person is also resetting down here for the most part. There's a little bump up here mid-sequence, and you can see that the pattern reaches that level 4. Now, when we look at the combined, the beginning of this sequence, the middle of this sequence, we hit that 4 level, but otherwise, our defensive design isn't being agitated so much in day 3. The higher these graphs go on the chart, the more your defensive design is being agitated and the more your choices are being manipulated. We're trying to help you not be manipulated by your defensive design, because if you react defensively, it creates the stress that accelerates your aging and creates the future states of the diseases that you'll suffer with. We're trying to help you with that, and the first thing you have to do is overcome your defensive design. That's what this is all about. And the good news on day 3 is it's not going to be as hard to overcome your defensive design because, well, it's not agitating you quite as much as it was in day 1 and day 2. All right. Now, if you created some stress in day 1 and day 2, now that this is starting to calm down, maybe think about resolving that stress before it grows even more, gets out of hand. That would be the suggestion. All right, so let's get down here now and let's look at the testing structure, the testing sequence for day 3. And there is some up and down movement here. So left upper quadrant is being tested pretty similar. We're at that number 4. So if it's at or above 4, that's a pretty heavy test load. Now, when we look at day 2 to day 3 here, right upper quadrant has actually come down a little bit. We're not being tested as heavily here. However, left lower quadrant is on the rebound. We're going to have a little bit more left lower quadrant testing from day 3 here. And you can see the right lower quadrant here, that kicks up in day 3 as well. We're going to reach up into that 6 range for just a hot minute, but we're going to definitely be at that 4. So when you look at day 2 testing to day 3 testing, you can see that different parts of the body, you're going to experience discomfort, stiffening if you're out of balance. Now, if you want to be in balance, this is how simple it is. You have to commit to your team, meaning you have to try to get along with every teammate and not let this electromagnetic pattern agitate your defensive design and convince you that you don't have to. Because if you don't get along with these teammates, you won't be in balance with these frequencies. The other thing is this: you got to understand what the team objective is. You see, not only are you supposed to get along with your team, but you're supposed to commit to what the team is trying to do. And what the team is doing is it's making sure that every teammate has a routine that's going to reflect a better society, a better future experience for every future family that's born. You see, in the world right now, if you're born in a different country, you have a wildly different experience. And we need people to come back together as a team and then work together, balancing their routines to ensure that every future family is going to have a fair and balanced world when they're born into it. That's what you have to do. So if your routine is unbalanced, so that your country or your nation or your community can live better than another, well, that's going to be a problem for you. These frequencies are going to let you know that. That's how that works. All right, so this is the day 3 Plutonic Objective Master Key. And we go through this each and every day, and we're going to go through all of them, even though the ones that are changing are really just these blue ones, okay? These are changing every 12 hours. This purple one changes every 6.5 days. This magenta one here, the square, this changes every 7.5 days. And this one right here, this sits for the entire year. So the 8-4 for the entire year is checking to see how balanced your routines are, and are you going to leave this world a better place? It's also seeing how balanced your teammate relationships are. Are you able to get along with the mature female members of the team? Now, if you're having problems getting along with the member of the team, or if you're having problem balancing, making sure this world is going to be better for every future participant, then you're going to feel it in 2 places. The space side or the world side is tied into the left lower quadrant. So this capital M, that's where that's going to affect you. So if you've been having left hip pain that's come on since 2024 started, That's what that's about. Now, if you've had right hip pain that's kind of flared up and been giving you trouble all 2024, well, that has to do with this teammate relationship right here, the mother relationship. All right, let's move to the next one. This is the 7.5 day frequency. Actually, in day 2, this one switched over. So this is the first full 24-hour period where this is going to be sitting in the 6-7. Now, the 6-7 micro-mental frequency is checking to see how balanced you are with family and with nation. So how do your choices, are they affecting the families and the nations of the world? Period. Now, you know what you have to do to be in balance with them. If you're not in balance with them, well, the small m here is going to show you where you're hurt. So if you're having problem balancing at the family level, you're going to have problems with your right hip. If you're having problems balancing at the national level, you're going to have problems with your upper left quadrant. That's how that works. All right, so here's the 6.5 day frequency. This is the 5-2 emotional. Day 3 of this. Now, this is checking to see where you are as far as how are you contributing to individual and to the relations of the sons. Sons are the immature male members of the team, and individual, that's a perspective that's the smallest third person perspective. And how are your actions and what you're investing in, how is it affecting individuals? How is it affecting these teammates? That's how you read that. So if you're out of balance with either one of these perspectives, if you're out of balance with the individual perspective, you're going to feel that in the left upper quadrant. If you're out of balance with the son or the younger teammate perspective, you're going to feel that in your left lower quadrant. That's how that works. All right, let's move on to the first physical macro. So this is the first 12 hours of the 24-hour period, and this is the 6-6. This is going to test to see how balanced choices are in regards to family and in regards to the individual. So if you're having problems with either one of these, if you're having problems with balancing your routine to make sure that every family is going to have an equal and fair experience because of what you invest in, then you're going to feel it right here. Right hip, P1, that's the first. P1, and there it is. Now, same thing, there's a P1 that's going to go with this individual perspective. That's right here. It's going to go to the left side. So if you're having trouble with the individual perspective, you're going to feel it in the left hip. All right, let's go to the last macro P here, okay? So in this one, it's the 8-7. This is testing world, nation. So if you're having problems with this one, if you're having problems with balancing with the world, you're going to feel this in your right upper quadrant in the second 12-hour period of time. And if you're having problems with the national view, you're actually going to feel that in your left lower quadrant. That's the biofeedback there. Okay, so that's the testing structure for the largest frequencies. And let's move on. So we've got some alignments here to talk about today. Now, alignments are just when two frequencies in a quadrant come together and they're going to amplify the moment. And we've been talking about this here, this 23-hour alignment. Okay, this is going on the entire period. And it's important to know what this is testing. This is amplifying the big M frequency with the little m frequency on the space side. What does that mean? It means it's amplifying the worldview and it's amplifying the family view. Those are the two views. So this is the 8-4 and it's matching up with the 6-7 specifically at family and world. So if you're having problems balancing at the family and world perspective during this alignment, it is going to be noticeable. And then you just go to the exact ones we just talked about. This is going to affect left hip if it's the world perspective or the 8-4. And if it's the micro that's getting you, it's going to be this guy right here. So a blue alignment means you just come over here to the blue chart. That's first person. And a time alignment means you're going to come to the third person chart. That's right here. Okay. All right. So now there's a bunch of little alignments here. And we're going to kind of abbreviate this or make this fast for you, okay? So this side is getting along with teammates. This side is balancing routines. That's the thing. And to get along with teammates, you got to be able to coordinate, communicate, alleviate stress, talk through stress, and balance routines together. And on this side, these are about balancing routines. So if what you're doing, if your actions and what you're contributing to aren't leaving a fair and balanced world for everybody in the future, well, you're going to have problems in the quadrants that these are indicating. So there's a lot going on in the lower quadrants during this next 24-hour period of time. In fact, there's only one alignment that's going to affect the upper quadrants. And this alignment specifically has to do with getting along with older members of the team. These alignments are the younger members of the team. These alignments have to do with the smaller routines, the family and individual routine, how you're spending your time at that smaller level. All right, that's enough on alignments. That's just ways that we can confirm to you that once again, you're in an interactive biofeedback system. All right, so here's the good news. You can actually look ahead after you watch this forecast. You can scroll down and you can see what's coming up in the next days. So, for example, we're in day 3, but you can also click over. You can see what day 4's lesson is going to be. You can see what day 5's lesson is going to be. And you can see how much is changing from day to day. That's why some days seem better than others. And then you can see at the end of the sequence, the physical macro and the emotional macro, they pair up and then a new sequence starts. That's the pattern. Okay. This is also the alignment pattern down here. So you can go through all 7 days or 6.5 days here and see what the alignments are going to be, for example, for day 5. Or you can see what day 6 alignments are going to look like, as well as what the electromagnetics are going to look like. Now, these last graphs, these are for preparation too. We want to make sure that you have all this information before it even happens. This is the future patterns that are going to happen for the rest of 2024. And when this pattern elevates, it's going to activate defensive design, and we want to empower you so that doesn't affect you in a negative way or any people you care about. We also want you to overcome your defensive design so you can achieve this objective. That's how this works. That's what we're doing to try to help you. And the more people we get overcoming this pattern, the bigger the collective effect that we can create in a good way. All right, that's enough for this one. We'll see you in the next 24 hours.